The chant this morning is going to be the King of Aspiration prayers. So if you came in early today, you got a copy of this. Really appreciate everyone who comes early for the morning chants. Usually we'll do something from our chant books. And the way that the Dharma Council selected the chants for the chant book was based on how important we think those chants were to knowing. So, you know, a lot of times these are just teachings that are good to know, good to memorize, and even though some of them are long, it's important to get a full sense of the body of the teachings, I guess. And so this King of Aspiration prayer is quite long, and I just invite you to sit back and just enjoy the chant. If you'd like to chant along, I provide you with a copy there to follow along. And after the service, you can feel free to take those with you. This is a great practice to have, you know, a daily practice or a weekly practice, just to read through this chant out loud. Thank you. King of Aspiration prayers, Samantabhadra, aspiration of good actions, Zangcho Monlam, from the Gandhavaya chapter of the Avantamsaka Sutra. The translators, homage. Homage to Manjushri, the youthful. The 7 preliminaries for purifying the mind. Prostration to all the Buddhas, the lions of the human race, in all directions of the universe, through past and present and future. To every single one of you, I bow in homage. Devotion fills my body, speech, and mind. Through the power of this prayer, aspiring to good action, all the victorious ones appear vivid here before my mind, and I multiply my body as many as atoms in the universe, each one bowing in prostration to all the Buddhas. Offering. In every atom preside as many Buddhas as there are atoms, and around them all their Bodhisattva heirs, and so I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality. Saluting them with endless oceans of praise, with the sounds of an ocean of different melodies, I sing of the Buddha's noble qualities, and praise all those who have gone to perfect bliss. To every Buddha I make offerings of the loveliest flowers, the beautiful garlands of music and perfumed ointments, the best of parasols and the brightest lamps and finest incense. To every Buddha I make offerings, exquisite garments in the most fragrant scents, powdered incense heaped as high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassable offerings, inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas and moved by the power of my faith and good actions, I prostrate and offer to all you victorious ones. Confession. Whatever negative acts I have committed while driven by desire, hatred, and ignorance, with my body, speech, and mind, and also with my body, my speech, and also with my mind, before you I confess and purify each and every one. Rejoicing. With a heart full of delight, I rejoice at all the merits of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Pradika Buddhas, those in training and their arhats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. Imploring the Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma. You who are like beacons of light shining through the worlds, who pass through the stages of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all, I exhort you all of you protectors, turn the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. Requesting the Buddhas not to enter nirvana. Joining my palms together, I pray to you who intend to pass into nirvana, remain for eons as many as atoms in the world, and bring well-being and happiness to all beings. Dedication. With what little virtue I have gathered through my homage, through offering, confessing, and rejoicing, through exhortation and prayer, all of it I dedicate to the enlightenment of all beings. The actual aspiration. Aspiration for the purity of attitude. Let offerings be made to Buddhas of the past and all who now dwell throughout the 10 directions of this universe. Let all who are yet to come swiftly fulfill their wishes and attain the stages of enlightenment and Buddhahood. Let as many worlds as there are in all the 10 directions transform into realms that are vast and utterly pure, filled with Buddhas who have sat before the mighty Bodhi tree, around them all their Bodhisattva sons and daughters. Let as many sentient beings as there are in all the 10 directions live always and forever in happiness and health. Let all beings meet the Dharma that befits them best, and so may all they hope for be fulfilled. Aspiration never to forget the bodhicitta. As I practice the training for enlightenment, may I recall all my previous births, and in successive lives through death and rebirth, may I always renounce the worldly life. Training in the footsteps of all the victorious Buddhas, may I bring good action to perfection, and my moral conduct be taintless and pure, never lapsing and always free from fault. In the language of the gods, Nagas, and Yaksas, in the language of demons and humans too, and however many kinds of speech there may be, I shall proclaim the Dharma in the language of all. Taming my mind and striving in the paramitas, I will never forget the bodhicitta. May all my harmful actions and obscurations they cause be completely purified, every single one. Aspiration to be free from defilements. May I be freed from karma, harmful emotions, and the work of negativity, and act for all beings in the world. And just like the lotus flower to which mud and water cannot cling, or sun and moon that course unhindered through the sky. Aspiration to lead beings to happiness. Throughout the reach and range of the entire universe, I shall pacify completely the suffering of all the lower realms. I shall lead all beings to happiness and work for the ultimate benefit of each and every one. Aspiration to wear the armor of dedication. I shall bring in enlightened action to perfection, serve beings as to suit their needs, teach them to accomplish good actions, and to continue this throughout all the eons to come. Aspiration to accompany other bodhisattvas. May I always meet and be accompanied by those whose actions accord with mine, and in body, speech, and mind as well. May our actions and aspirations always be one. Aspiration to have virtuous teachers and to please them. May I always meet spiritual friends who long to be of true help to me and who teach me the good actions. Never will I disappoint them. Aspiration to see the Buddhas and serve them in person. May I always behold the Buddhas here before my eyes, and around them all their Bodhisattva sons and daughters, without ever tiring throughout all the eons to come. May the offerings I make them be endless and vast. Aspiration to keep the Dharma thriving. May I maintain the sacred teachings of the Buddhas and cause enlightened action to appear. May I train to perfection in good actions and practice this in every age to come. Aspiration to acquire inexhaustible treasure. As I wander through all states of samsaric existence, may I gather inexhaustible merit and wisdom, and so become an inexhaustible treasury of noble qualities, of skill and discernment, samadhi and liberation. Aspiration to the different methods for entering into good actions. Seeing the Buddha in their pure realms. In a single atom, may I see as many pure realms as atoms in the universe, and in each realm, Buddhas beyond all imagining, encircled by all their own Bodhisattva heirs. Along with them, may I perform the actions of enlightenment. And so in each direction, everywhere, even on the tip of a hair, may I see an ocean of Buddhas, all to come in past, present, and future, in an ocean of pure realms, and throughout the ocean of eons, may I enter into enlightened action in each and every one. Listening to the speech of the Buddhas. Every single word of a Buddhist speech, that voice with its ocean of qualities, bears all the purity of the speech of all the Buddhas. Sounds that harmonize with the minds of all living beings, may always be engaged with the speech of the Buddhas. Hearing the turning of the wheels of Dharma. With all the powers of my mind, may I hear and realize the inexhaustible melody of the teachings spoken by all the Buddhas of past, present, and future as they turn the wheel of Dharma, entering into all the eons. Just as the wisdom of the Buddhas penetrates all future eons, so may I too know them instantly, and in each fraction of an instant may I know all that will ever be in past, present, and future. Seeing all the Buddhas in one instant, in an instant may I behold all those who are lions of the human race, the Buddhas of past, present, and future. Entering the sphere of activity of the Buddhas. May I always be engaged in the Buddha's way of life and action throughout the power of liberation, where all is realized as like an illusion. Accomplishing and entering the pure lands. On a single atom, may I actually bring about the entire array of pure realms of past, present, and future, and then enter into these pure realms, Buddha realms, in each atom and in each and every direction. Entering into the presence of Buddhas. When those who illuminate the world still to come gradually attain Buddhahood, turn the wheel of Dharma, and demonstrate the final, profound peace of Nirvana, may I always be in their presence. Aspiration to the power of enlightenment through 9 powers, through the power of swift miracles, through the power of the vehicle like a doorway, the power of conduct that possesses all virtuous qualities, the power of loving kindness, all pervasive, the power of merit that is totally virtuous, the power of wisdom free from attachment, and the power of knowledge, skillful means, and samadhi. May I perfectly accomplish the power of enlightenment. Aspiration to the antidotes that pacify the obscurations. May I purify the power of karma, destroy the power of harmful emotions, render negativity utterly powerless, and perfect the power of good actions. Aspiration to enlightened activities. I shall purify ocean of realms, liberate oceans of sentient beings, understand oceans of Dharma, realize oceans of wisdom, perfect oceans of actions, fulfill oceans of aspirations, serve oceans of Buddhas, and perform these without ever growing weary through oceans of eons. Aspiration for training, to emulate the Buddhas. All the Buddhas throughout the whole of time attained enlightenment through good actions, and their prayers and aspirations for enlightened action, may I fulfill them all completely. To emulate the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. The eldest of the sons of all the Buddhas is called Samantabhadra, all good, so that I may act with a skill like his. I dedicate fully all these merits. To purify my body, speech, and my mind as well, to purify my actions in all realms, may I be the equal of Samantabhadra in his skill and good dedication. Manjushri. In order to perform the full virtue of good actions, I shall act according to Manjushri's prayer of aspiration, and without ever growing weary in all the eons to come, I shall perfectly fulfill every one of his aims. Concluding aspiration. Let my Bodhisattva acts be beyond measure. Let my enlightened qualities be measureless too. Keeping to this immeasurable activity, may I accomplish all the miraculous powers of enlightenment. Extent of the aspiration. Sentient beings are as limitless as the boundless expanse of space. So shall my prayer of aspiration for them be as limitless as their karma and harmful emotions. The benefits of making aspirations. The benefits of making aspirations in general. Whoever hears this king of dedication prayers and yearns for supreme enlightenment, who even once arouses faith, will gain true merit greater still. Then by offering the victorious Buddhas infinite pure realms in every direction, all ornamented with jewels, or offer them all the highest joys of gods and humans, for as many eons as there are atoms in those realms. The 13 benefits in detail. Whoever truly makes this aspiration to good actions will never again be reborn in lower realms. They will be free from harmful companions and soon behold the Buddhas of boundless light. They will acquire all kinds of benefits and live in happiness, and even in this present life all will go well, and before long they will become just like Samantabhadra. All negative acts, even the 5 of immediate retribution, whatever they have completed in the grip of ignorance, will soon be completely purified if they recite this aspiration of good actions. They will possess perfect wisdom, beauty, and excellent signs, be born in a good family and with a radiant appearance. Demons and heretics will never harm them, and all 3 worlds will honor them with offerings. They will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree, and there they will sit to benefit all sentient beings, then awaken into enlightenment, turn the wheel of Dharma, and tame Mara with all his hordes. The benefits in brief. The full result of keeping, teaching, or reading this prayer of aspiration of good actions is known to the Buddhas alone. Have no doubt supreme enlightenment will be yours. Dedication of the merit to this meritorious aspiration. Dedication that follows the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samantabhadra too, all these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. Dedication to follow the Buddhas. As all the victorious Buddhas, the past, present, and future, praise dedication as supreme, so now I dedicate all these roots of virtue for all being to perfect good actions. Dedication towards actualizing the results. When it is time for me to die, let all the obscures me fade away. So I look at Amitabha there in person and go at once to his pure land of Sugavati. In that pure land, may I actualize every single one of all these aspirations. May I fulfill them each and every one and bring help to beings for as long as the universe remains. Dedication toward receiving a prophecy from the Buddha. Born there in a beautiful lotus flower in that excellent and joyous Buddha realm, may the Buddha Amitabha himself grant me the prophecy foretelling my enlightenment. Dedication towards serving others. Having received the prophecy there with my billions of emanations sent out through the power of my mind, may I bring enormous benefit to sentient beings in all the 10 directions. Conclusion. Through whatever small virtue I have gained by reciting this aspiration of good actions, may the virtuous wishes of all beings, prayers, and aspirations all be instantly accomplished. Through the truth and boundless merit attained by dedicating this aspiration of good action, may all those now drowning in the ocean of suffering reach the supreme realm of Amitabha. May this king of aspirations bring about the supreme aim and benefit of all infinite sentient beings. May they perfect what is described in this holy prayer uttered by Samantabhadra. May the lower realms be entirely emptied. End of prayer. words of truth to accomplish aspirations. By the blessings of the Buddhas who have attained the three kayas and the unchanging truth of reality, as well as the unwavering aspirations of the Sangha, may all the aspirations and dedication prayers be fulfilled. Are we bow? Noble silence. Have the incense lighters come forward, please. Going to chant the incense lighting gatha together. It's on page 2 of our chant books. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Bow. And we bow. Good morning. My name is Kunga Nyima. I'm the senior Dharma teaching monk here at the temple. Great to have so many people here today. Do we have anybody who's here for the first time? All right, great. Wonderful. Awesome. So if you see anybody who's wearing a robe or wearing grays, they are a good person that you can talk to after service if you have any questions or anything. We invite you to join us in our chants and rituals as you feel comfortable. You'll have a chant book there, and we're going to let you know what page numbers all the chants are on. And then just encourage you to involve yourself. Be mindful when you're chanting. Don't chant so loud that you can't hear other people, because we all want to be in unison. If you need to get up during the service, just walk around the back near the brick wall there. We do have bathrooms behind those curtains right there, and also the stairs downstairs. There's also a place downstairs with water, and you can stretch out. We have a library downstairs as well. So if you're here for the first time, or if you've here before and you didn't know we have a library, we do have a library downstairs. You can check out books. All you have to do is write down your name and phone number and what book you checked out, and just on the honor system. So I encourage you to check that out. I think at this time, we'll invite everyone to stand up, and we'll greet each other silently with bows. In our first chant is the True Refuges. This is on page 3 in your chant book. I go to refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to feeling of joy and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware of the three jewels within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning, and to help relieve grief to one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. With that. And then if you turn that page over on page 4, we can chant the Heart Sutra together. Dhamma Prajna Paramita Vijaya Sutra
Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceive the emptiness of all parasampas, and deliver all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty, they are not born nor inanimate, they are not defiled nor immaculate, they do not increase nor decrease, no emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No body, no tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to the out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. No Bodhisattva, hold on time, prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharma, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, tara gate, parasamgate, Bodhisattva. Gate, gate, tara gate, parasamgate, Bodhisattva. Gate, gate, tara gate, parasamgate, Bodhisattva. Dharma, prajna, paramita, Vinaya, Sutra.
I invite you to remain standing for a minute. So at this point, I invite anyone who's comfortable to join me in prostrations. So the prostrations of this temple look like this. We do the refuge three prostrations to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. So the first one we say, I go for refuge to Buddha. I go for refuge to Dharma. I go for refuge to Sangha. If you're comfortable, I invite you to chant along with me. Do the prostrations. I go for refuge to Buddha. I go for refuge to Dharma. I go for refuge to Sangha. Thank you. Please be seated. Morning again. The title of my talk today is How to Meditate Like a Superhero. So I don't know if you saw the Facebook post that Musho put out there. It had basically Superman sitting on the meditation cushion with his cape flying out behind him and a beautiful sunset or sunrise happening. So I'm going to be talking about the 7-branch prayer, which is introduced in the King of Aspiration prayers by Samantabhadra in the Avatamsaka Sutra. And so if you got here early, you got the bigger packet, which had 10 pages, which includes the whole King of Aspiration prayer in it. So this morning for our opening bell chant, I just chanted the whole chant. You can get a copy of this, the same copy as the one that I chanted. It's online. You just look up King of Aspirations prayer and Lhasa, Lhasa. I don't think the information's on that sheet I gave you. But that tells you that the website, they have it listed there as a PDF. I chose this sutra because the 7-branch prayer is introduced in the way of the Bodhisattva. And that's the way of the Bodhisattva is what our Bodhisattva class is studying right now. Last month, I talked about the way of the Bodhisattva as well. I talked about self-grasping and self-cherishing. So self-grasping is this idea that, or this delusion that we're a permanent self, that we never change, that we are completely separate from everyone else, that we don't have any connection with anyone else, that we own our body. You know, this is, we can tell our body what to do. We can do anything we want with it. And kind of like that we own our mind as well. And that what we think and how we perceive the world is the way it is. And no one else, you know, if they don't agree with it or if they don't see it our way, then they're delusional or they're ignorant, right? So these are the core delusions. This leads to this idea of self-grasping, like holding on to who we are and what we think and what's important to us. And this comes out in real world as pride and jealousy and desire and hatred and ignorance, which are basically known as the 5 poisons in Buddhism. So I thought the 7-branch prayer is kind of a nice connection with what I was talking about last time, because not only because it's introduced in the way of Bodhisattva as well, but also because it's basically offering you antidotes to those same type of delusions. Okay, so the 7-branch prayer has 7 ingredients, and each one, sometimes there's 2, are dealing with providing an antidote to one of these poisons. So the first ingredient is prostration. So I showed you some prostrations at the beginning, and that's the antidote to pride. Okay. Then after prostrations comes offerings, and offerings is the antidote to greed, okay, or desire. After offerings, we have confession, and confession is thought to be the antidote to ill will. And if you have, well, everybody should have this copy here. I'm just kind of going through them. So offering is confession is number 3. After confession is the antidote to ill will, which is basically doing wrong. You know, I think if we're thinking about poisons, hatred, would be part of ill will. Next section 4, rejoicing. Rejoicing is the antidote to jealousy. And then employing the Buddha to turn the wheel of dharmas, and also requesting the Buddha not to enter nirvana, 5 and 6. These are the antidote to ignorance. And then last one, dedication, is the antidote to doubt. So what I'm going to do in my talk today is kind of go through each one of those things in a little bit more detail. So I wanted to start off by reading what Shanadeva says. And Shanadeva is the way of the Bodhisattva, is the writer of the way of the Bodhisattva. What he has to say about the first part, prostrations. So Shanadeva says, to Buddhas of the past, the present, and all future time, and to the Dharma and sublime assembly. With bodies many as grains of dust upon the earth, I will prostrate and bow. So I gave you the copy of the King of Aspirations prayer. And so I think that we could say that Shantideva is drawing inspiration from this, but he puts things in his own perspective. So when I first read this, and I was reading this King of Aspiration prayer, and also the parts that Shantideva has in the way of the Bodhisattva, I was really kind of blown away by the scope of the prayer. He says he wants to prostrate to as many Buddhas as there are grains of dust on the earth. So that's like a really huge number, right? I Googled that number. And so that is, according to Google, there are estimated 7.5 quintillion grains of sand on earth. So that's 7.5 followed by 18 zeros. And the grains of sand are just the parts of dust that settle to the ground. So the dust that's in the air is not even counted. So it's, can you wrap your mind around that huge number? And when I was reading the morning chant, it kept on saying, as many as atoms in the universe, as many as atoms in an atoms in the atoms. It just had all these huge expansive numbers, incredible visualizations. So that's where I got the idea of the talk from, how to meditate like a superhero, because it's like these bodhisattvas like Samantabhadra and Shantideva, they have these incredible abilities to perform practices in ways that seem like heroic or superhuman. I think of them as like elite athletes. Athletes who do they don't do like a 25-mile, they don't do a marathon, they do like a 50-mile race. My daughter Audrey, her husband Mike is like a ultra athlete, and he does in the spring. He usually goes to the Grand Canyon, and him and a friend, they run down into the canyon, run up to the other side, then run back down and run back out. And that's 50 miles. And they just do it all in one shot. And last year, that took them 16 hours, which was 4 hours shorter than the year before, because the year before, there were 12 inches of snow on the other side. So it took them 4 hours longer to run up to the snow. So pretty amazing. So, we're probably not very many of us are that kind of athlete, but, we can exercise, and we may not be at the level that Samantabhadra or Shantideva is yet, but we can build up our practice. And so what I want to do today is I want to introduce this 7-branch prayer, kind of give you the aspirations that Shantideva comes up with, and then tell you maybe how we might start with like baby steps, how we can start with stretching to kind of work our way up to that level. So Shantideva, it doesn't say it in the prayer, but you're basically starting out sitting on the meditation cushion, and you're visualizing a spiritual teacher in front of you. Shantideva says he visualizes a Buddhas and Bodhisattvas whose bodies number as many as grains of dust on the earth. So we might start just by visualizing one person in front of us, a Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha. We might visualize Shakyamuni Buddha sitting there in front of us. Or if that's not our spiritual guide, maybe some other spiritual teacher, just there in front of us, and trying to visualize them as we can, as completely as we can, make them as real as possible. And after we kind of visualize that teacher in front of us, we're going to do the first step is to provide prostrations. And like I said, in this temple, we do prostrations like I showed you at the beginning here, but that was just sort of like a half prostration. If we were to do a full prostration, we would start out with our hands like in a lotus bud above our heart. We would bend forward, and then we would go all the way down to put our knees on the ground, and then put our forehead on the mat. And then once we got our forehead down, put our hands up to set the blessings, then stand back up. And we usually would do that to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And the reason we're doing that, like I said before, was to provide an antidote to pride. So there's a Zen story that says that, if it tells a story of someone coming to the teacher to get teachings, and that person has a full cup. And if you have a full cup full of your pride, you can't receive any information. You can't receive any new teachings. In the Zen story, he's pouring him tea, and he just pours the tea out all over the table to show this student that, there's nowhere he's not available to teachings because he has too much pride. So when we do our prostrations, we're basically showing that, we don't know it all. We don't have all the spiritual answers. We want instructions, and we're telling the teacher, asking the teacher to provide us with those instructions. So after prostrations, the next step is offerings. And this is the antidote to greed. And Shantideva provides many pages of offerings in the way of the Bodhisattva. I counted, there's 21 verses of offerings. So we might say that Shantideva, one of his superpowers is the ability to offer things. He basically offers everything in the universe. So let me read. I just took 2 of the verses out. I offer every fruit and flower, every kind of healing draught, and all precious gems the world contains, with all pure waters of refreshment. Every mountain wrought of precious jewels, all sweet and lovely forest groves, the trees of paradise adorned with blossom, trees with branches bowed with perfect fruit. So, Shantideva offers 21 verses of offerings, and we might think about, being beginners in the spiritual practice, we're just visualizing the offerings, but even that, might be difficult for us to come up with, like, what would I give the spiritual teacher? What can I let go of? One way to approach this is to consider what I talked about last month, and that everything that you have in your life is a gift from others. Your house, your clothes, your food, your job, your education, everything, none of those things would exist if there weren't other people to provide them for you. You went to school with other people, you had teachers, there had to be that place out there for you to work before you could get a job there. Someone built the house before you moved into it or rented it. All these people are providing those things to us. So we can just think about everything that others have given to us out of their kindness, and we can just re-gift it. We can just gift it back to everyone else, gift it to our spiritual teachers. And one way to structure this is to give them things based on the 5 senses. So we might give them, incense that smells good, or fresh flowers. We might give them fresh fruits and vegetables, things that we think they would like to eat, that they would taste good. We can give them robes to wear, silk robes, clothing, beautiful music, maybe the sound of the ocean, or a favorite song that we like, or some place to meditate, like a beautiful grove, and someplace in the mountains with a beautiful scenery. Anything, anything we can imagine, we can provide to them. And so we're just usually in life we're thinking about what's in it for me. What can I get? And here we're just thinking about what can I give? And we're really exercising that generosity. The third branch of the prayer is called confession. And this is to the antidote to ill will. So ill will basically is just like all those things that we've done in life that maybe were not good, things that we feel bad about, things that we regret doing. Shantideva confesses it like this: deceived and overmastered by my ignorance, I have taken pleasure in such sin. In seeing now the blame of it, O great protectors, I confess it earnestly. Whatever I have done against the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, against my parents, teachers, and the rest, through force of my defilements in my body, speech, and mind. So he's just confessing everything he's ever done that he's ever done wrong. And for us, kind of starting out, that's a big thing to do, right? So maybe just pick something that you did over the last 24 hours that you feel like you regret. It might be something you physically did that, hurt someone else. It might be just some thought that you had that you felt like wasn't very wholesome or it's kind of judgmental. And you're basically just bringing that to mind and making a commitment not to do that again. That's what the confession is about. As you maybe you haven't done anything in the last 24 hours, then you can think, deeper, and you might have things that maybe just come up like, oh, this is bothering me. This is on my mind. Next time I do the 7-branch prayer, I'm just going to go ahead and confess this, because it's been on. So it's that opportunity to kind of clear the slate for yourself. So this sort of might bring up some negative energy. To kind of balance that, we have the next section, which is rejoicing. And this is the antidote to jealousy. So when we do like our joys and concerns here at Temple, you know, people share what's good about their life, you know, and we encourage everyone to kind of take joy with them. So we're having this opportunity through the prayer to experience the joy of the spiritual practitioners who've gone before us, or even the ones that are practicing with us, and taking joy in what they've accomplished. So we might start out thinking about the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all that they've accomplished, and then like consider the teachers that we know, lamas, people that have written Dharma books that we've read, you know, be grateful, sharing the joy of their accomplishments. People that attend temple with us, you know, the joy of having them here with us, you know, and even think about people who maybe just heard of Buddhism, you know, or just starting on the path, you know, and you can also rejoice in other people who have a religious path. You know, it doesn't have to be a Buddhist path. You know, any type of religious spiritual path is a good path to have. So we can kind of rejoice in that too. So this is Shanadeva's joy. With joy, I celebrate the virtue that relieves all beings from the sorrows of the states of loss, exulting in the happy states enjoyed by those who yet are suffering. I revel in the stores of virtue, causes of gaining the enlightened state, and celebrate the freedom won by living beings from the round of pain. So the next two branches of the prayer are the antidote to ignorance. So I'm going to go ahead and read these two verses from Shanadeva. And so I join my hands and pray, the Buddhas who reside in every quarter, kindle now the Dharma's light for those who grope bewildered in the dark of pain. I join my hands beseeching the enlightened ones who wish to pass into nirvana. Do not leave us wandering in blindness. Stay among us for unnumbered ages. So this is the antidote to ignorance because it's talking about us being grateful for the teachers and the teachings. And not only, you know, do we want the teachings to be present, the other side of that is we want to be motivated to study the teachings. It doesn't really matter if they're present and they're just all sitting in a library of books that we never read. So the idea is that, for me, the idea is that, you know, we're praying for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all the spiritual teachings to be out there and available to us, and for ourselves to have the aspiration to seek them out. You know, we live in an age where all the Buddhist teachings are available to you right online. You know, anytime you go on Facebook or social media and start scrolling, you could be looking at a website and reading something about Buddhism, or watching a Zoom video, somebody talk about Buddhism from any of the different Buddhism perspectives that are out there. I have my teacher is in a group that comes out of Baltimore, Maryland. So I sit with them on usually 2 days a week. And then I have some podcasts that one's from Denver and one's is in Florida that I listen to. But, you know, they're always available to you. So it's really up to you to do that. And the idea with we're asking the Buddhas not to pass into nirvana because, you know, we want them to be there to get those teachings for us. So we want we're praying for people to be available, to provide the teachings, to donate their time and their effort, to share their knowledge and all those things. We're just, wishing for those things to continue for us. And in a way, wishing ourselves to continue to have the energy and the drive to seek those things out. The seventh ingredient of the seven-limb prayer is dedication. So this is the antidote to doubt. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking it in a couple of different ways. You know, one way was that the doubt that might arise that this practice we're doing has any benefit. You know, like in today's world, is there even any reason to be a Buddhist, to practice Buddhism? What we're saying that you should do here is not what people out in the world do. So that's sort of overcoming that doubt. And the doubt that we'll be able to maintain our spiritual practice, you know, that we'll have the energy to do it. You know, if we decide it's worthwhile, but are we going to be mindful enough to do it every single day? You know, each moment to remind ourselves to do it. So in order to counteract the doubt, what we do is we dedicate our practice to other beings. So we kind of turn the dedication into a way to serve our practice, So, I dedicate my my prostrations, my confessing, my prostrations, my offerings, my confessing, my rejoicing, and my prayers to all beings, so that all beings will benefit from those things. We're kind of like, the idea is that we're kind of generating some type of spiritual bank account, sort of like some spiritual money, by doing these good practices. And instead of holding on to them, just to help ourselves, we're going to give them all beings. And if I think about the title of my talk, how to meditate like a superhero, that's what we know about superheroes. They don't get paid, right? They just go out and they just save beings, and then they fly off, they never get paid for what they do. And so as spiritual superheroes, that's what we're aspiring to as bodhisattvas. We're basically out there doing our practice, trying to save all beings, and we're not expecting any kind of payment. Anything that we do get paid for, we're just going to dedicate it back to the practice, use it to build our practice. So what I wanted to do for our meditation today was I wanted to kind of lead you through this 7-branch prayer. So I'm going to go ahead and invite you all to get to a comfortable position. If you're tired of sitting on the cushions, you're not comfortable, we have chairs available there. So I encourage you to go and sit in a chair if you need to. And as I'm leading you through this visualization, I want you to remember that the spiritual being that you're actually doing all this to, the person that you're prostrating to, offering, confessing, rejoicing, really, this is just your own innate spirituality. These qualities all exist within you yourself. You're bringing out your own Buddha nature. You're offering these all to yourself to encourage yourself on the spiritual path. So you're just giving everything back to yourself. So if you get yourself into a comfortable meditation posture, try to sit up nice and straight. Pull your hands up against your stomach. A right hand resting in the left hand, thumbs lightly touching. Let your shoulders be back and relaxed. Tuck your chin in a little bit. Sit up nice and straight with your spine. Tongue at the roof of your mouth. Mouth slightly open. Eyes can be closed, or I say eyes closed because we're going to be trying to visualize. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the Samantabhadra's visualizations for each of the sections. And then after that, I'll give you some instruction how you might modify that to fit your own place on the spiritual path. Just start by taking 10 deep breaths. Prostration. To all the Buddhas, the lions of the human race, in all directions of the universe, through past and present and future, to every single one of you, I bow in homage. Devotion fills my body, speech, and mind. Through the powers of this prayer, aspiring to good action, all the victorious ones appear, vivid here before my mind, and I multiply my body as many times as atoms in the universe, each one bowing in prostration to all the Buddhas. So maybe just imagine one Buddha or one spiritual friend in front of you. If you're imagining the Buddha, think of them as a body made of light, golden color, 2 eyes and 2 arms, right hand touching the ground in the gesture of earth-touching gesture, left hand holding an alms bowl full of nectar, sitting in the lotus position on a lion throne with a lotus sun and moon disk seats, wearing a ascetic's robe, possessing the 32 auspicious signs of the Buddha, and with unnumberable beams of golden light going out from every pore. If you're visualizing another spiritual teacher, just imagine that teacher in as much vivid detail as you can, sitting there right in front of you, smiling at you, encouraging you in your practice. And then in your mind, perform prostrations to that teacher. Offerings. In every atom preside as many Buddhas as there are atoms, and around them all their Bodhisattva heirs. And so I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality, saluting them with an endless ocean of praise, with the sound of an ocean of different melodies. I sing of the Buddha's noble qualities and praise all those who have gone to perfect bliss. To every Buddha I make offerings of the loveliest flowers, of beautiful garlands, of music and perfumed ointments, the best of parasols, the brightest lamps and finest incense. To every Buddha I make offerings, exquisite garments and the most fragrant scents, powdered incense heaped high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassable offerings, inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas and moved by the power and my faith in good actions, I prostrate and offer to all you victorious ones. So again, just in your mind's eye, imagine offering to your spiritual teacher whatever gifts you might feel like they would enjoy, whatever that would show how much you value their teachings and their guidance in your life. And you might offer offerings based on the 5 senses, things that they would enjoy with their sense of touch, things they would enjoy looking at, things they would enjoy hearing or tasting or smelling. Confession. Whatever negative acts I have committed while driven by desire, hatred, and ignorance, with my body and my speech, and also with my mind, before you I confess and purify each and every one. So just think of something from the last 24 hours that you regret doing, something you did with your body or something you thought with your mind or something maybe you said, and then just make an aspiration not to do that again. Or if you feel like it, if you can make an aspiration to, apologize or make right whatever thing you did wrong. Rejoicing. With a heart full of delight, I rejoice at all the merits, O Buddhas and O Bodhisattvas, Prataka Buddhas, those in training and the arahats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. So here you can think about someone, who's having some success or who's progressing on the spiritual path. Someone who you feel like is really doing someone you can model your life after, and just take joy in their accomplishments. You could also just take joy in someone who's having some life event happening that's really positive. Someone who just got a job, someone who was able to purchase, move into a new apartment, find a new place to live. Anything that someone was doing that gave them joy, that seemed wholesome, you can rejoice in that. Imploring the Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma. You who are like beacons of light shining through the worlds, who pass through the stages of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all. I exhort you, all of you protectors, turn the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. So just imagine your spiritual teachers out there, that the spiritual teachers continue to provide the teachings to you. You can still be able to continue receiving the teachings. You have the opportunities to study the teachings. Requesting the Buddha not to enter nirvana. Joining my palms together, I pray, to you intend to pass into nirvana, remain for eons as many as atoms in the world, and bring well-being and happiness to all beings. So here we're asking those spiritual teachers not to leave us, to continue to be available to us, to be inspirations for our practice, to be role models for us to follow. And if we really understand the teachings, we know that those teachers will never disappear. As long as we keep them in our heart, they're with us. So really we're just cultivating that place in our heart for those teachers to reside, so we can continue to be open to their teachings. And dedication. What little virtue I have gathered through my homage, through offerings, confessing, and rejoicing, through exhortation and prayer, all of it I dedicate to the enlightenments of all beings. So whatever merit we have gathered through our practice today, we're just not holding on to that. We're just giving it to other beings, so that other beings can also, feel the fruits of our spiritual practice. And we're just going to sit with that for the next 5 minutes. Now you can imagine that spiritual teacher turning into a golden ball of light, and that light coming to rest directly above your head. And you can breathe that teacher down into your body, down into your heart center, just a few inches behind your heart, and just let them rest there. We bow. Right. So feel free to take that handout with you. I encourage you to incorporate this into your daily practice. You can go through those 7 limbs, within it just takes a few minutes in your practice to do that at the beginning of each practice. Once you sit down on the cushion, kind of clear your mind, set your aspirations. I think that, a lot of times, we'll come to the cushion, maybe it's just from doing some other type of activity, and we just plop down on the cushion, and then our mind is just racing, and we're just like, oh, that wasn't a very good sit. Well, this is kind of a way for you to kind of take some control and set some positive aspirations, apply some of the antidotes to some of the things that are causing problems to your life, and then use that as a way to kick off your meditation. So with that, why don't we do joys and concerns? This is an opportunity for you to share things that are going good in your life and things that might be challenges with the Sangha, so that we can all share in your joy, or we can all share compassion for something you might be struggling with. So if you just raise your hand, Musha will bring you a microphone.
Hello, Sangha. My name is Smriti, and I just wanted to say my joy for this week has been Monday's glimpse of spring. It was an incredibly beautiful day. I got out to Crayon Valley Park with my dog, and it was just really, really nice.
Hi, Sangha. My name's Kenzie. I have a concern that's been happening over the last 2 weeks. I had a grandfather that passed away, and I think my concern is for my whole family and my grandmother, who now has to figure out how to live her life in a very different way. So, yeah, and my joy is that I got to see a lot of my family, and my nephews are very cute. And it's really good to be around a lot of babies and stuff during this time. Thank you.
Good morning, Sangha. I'm Z. It's good to see you all. Joys that the March is here. I got to celebrate my dancers' talents this weekend as they were performing at various events to celebrate the St. Patrick's Day holiday that's coming up. And they also have performances where they will be going to all of their schools throughout Grand Rapids to perform for their classmates. And it was just really beautiful to see the joy that these kids brought to different crowds as they were celebrating their culture, their Irish heritage. So I just want to rejoice in that.
Hello, Sangha. My name's Will. This is my second time being here, and I just wanted to share a joy that I'm having. Is that I'm just glad to find a place that is welcoming and accepting of everyone. To be able to be here on Sundays just means a lot to me.
I'm going to share a couple concerns and a joy. I have two daughters who are, older. The one is, one just went on a cruise. So it was like a joy. She went on a cruise for spring break, but then she came home with pink eye. And now it turned into some other kind of flu or something. So now she's home sick. She's not home. She's at home. She lives in at Michigan State, but she's at home. Couldn't attend classes this week because of her pink eye, extended on spring break. And then my older daughter was in a half marathon yesterday, and she won her age group, so she was really excited about that. So that was really cool. And let me think. It's always a joy just to come here. I don't live in the area, so it's great to be able to come here and practice with the Sangha in person, not virtually, and also to kind of meet with the Dharma Council because I don't get to see them very often either. So, yeah, great to see everyone. Thank you.
Hello, Sangha. I'm Carly. I just wanted to express a joy. I appreciate everybody putting in any good vibes into the universe. Last week, I did sign a new lawyer, and it has been substantially different this week, and I've been sleeping. And that is like such a gift. But I do put a lot into that, just having the courage to bring it here and to ask this community for help. So again, I'm just so appreciative of this space and everybody in here. Thank you.
I'll share a joy. Yesterday we had a Fundamentals of Buddhism class in here, and we had 15 people, so it was quite a good sized class. Several of those folks are here today again. So it's good to see you all again, and it was good to have a large class yesterday. It went very well.
So we do have a couple online. Oh, wow, we got quite a few. Okay. First one's from Deb. She says, "My joy is that my daughter earned a promotion at work. My concern continues to be for the war victims and the corruption of our government." And one from Brooke. "My joy is my friend Zoe. She brings me joy and supports my spirit as I go through some pain. As I faced a nervous breakdown this week, she has given me tools and support to face it." And one more from Michael. "I'd like to share a joy. I have been immersing myself in learning guitar, and I have found this very meditative and expressive.
All right, we're going to take a moment to take those joys and concerns into our hearts. All right, I have announcements for March. We had the board meeting today from 11:30 to 1. If anybody would like to observe that, you're invited to attend that. Buddhist Mutual Aid Sangha Pantry is downstairs. So if you go downstairs and look across, there's a cabinet there. It has supplies, food, and other products that people might in need might benefit from. If you want some for yourself, or you know someone, a neighbor who needs these things, please help yourself. Buddhist-based recovery meetings are on Mondays at 6:30 meditation, 7 p.m. meeting at the temple. Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. at the L&O Club. And Fridays, 10:05 meditation, 10:30 meeting here at the temple. Contact Anandaphala Bhava, Craig Dickinson, for further details about that. Are there any other announcements today?
Good morning, Sangha. My name is Ellen. In our practice, the word dana means generosity, and certainly coming from Kunga's talk today, there's plenty of opportunities available to us all on a daily basis to practice generosity. For example, right here at the temple, because no one receives a paycheck here, everything happens because someone is donating their time. They're being generous with product. We always need, I think, tea bags, paper towels, etc. So we appreciate those donations as well, and of course monetarily. But getting back to the fact that no one receives a paycheck here, somebody cleans this place. Somebody stands at the door and greets people as they come in. There's someone back there that does tech support for us. That all happens because they're donating their time. These jobs are not easy. They're not difficult to accomplish. There's plenty of instruction as well for those things, like incense lighting. Jeremy is the guy you need to talk to if you're interested in anything like that. Very easy to do. We have a great working relationship online, and you make yourself available for whatever tasks you would like to do. Lastly, of course, the lights are on and the heat is on because we have to spend money to do that. So we certainly appreciate financial support. We have Dana boxes on both ends of the Dharma hall. Checks, cash are fine. Each box has a QR code that takes you directly to PayPal. Also on the temple's website, zengr.org, there's a donate button. And lastly, for everyone who's watching on YouTube today, hello, there's a little drop-down menu that also will take you directly to PayPal. So whatever you can do, whenever you can do it, we appreciate every moment.
Hi, just one more announcement. I'm Z. We have some upcoming classes. Next month, we'll have an introduction to meditation on April 18th. And even if you're like, no, I know how to meditate. If you have not studied the 9 steps of Master Kamalashila and would be interested in learning a little bit more about how to interact with your mind from that perspective, come. It's a really informational class. Also, in May, on May 9th, I'll be leading the Tibetan silent retreat here at the temple, and that will be on the preliminaries that Kunga went over today. So we'll be practicing that visualization meditation, as well as diving deeper into what each of those parts contain, like the 4 parts of confession and rejoicing and all of that other kind of stuff that's really sweet and juicy if you learn how to meditate in that way. So put it on your calendar, May 9th, if you'd like to join us for that.
Thank you. And I did skip over a bunch of things in the announcements. I'm not sure. Online meditation group is still meeting on Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45 on Zoom. So just contact me if you're interested, or you really don't have to contact me. Just check the newsletter or the website for the Zoom link and just show up. Thursday Dharma discussion group is Thursday morning from 9:30 to 11 here at the temple. They didn't have a meeting on March 5th, but I don't see any other breaks on here listed. Ryan, Reverend Jingsu, or Venerable Jingsu is the one who does that. And the Mutual Aid Society usually meets on the second Sunday of the month. So whatever the second Sunday of is April when they meet next. Please stand and we'll do our closing gathas.